then people start asking me, hey, we love what you're doing. You're the automation guy. You're awesome. You're saving me so much time. But I'd be awesome if I can take a podcast audio and make it into a video so I can put it on YouTube. Or can I take a video off of Facebook and upload a copy onto YouTube? On my Facebook Live, for example. My first answers were like, no, can't do that, right? WordPress is not designed to take that kind of heavy load. And then it was just like people asking and asking and asking. And then I'm just like, you know what? Like, there's got to be something here. Like, all my customers are asking for this. There's a problem. People want this solved. So I just kind of spun up a little side project and I looked for another developer to help me kind of execute a very basic version of it. And that's how Repurpose was born. It was just, a little side project.
This is an intro. Intro.
Hustle and flow chart with your boy, my boy, Matt Wolf and Joe Fair.
Hey.
Yo.
Hi there.
Hi.
Alrighty. So we just wrapped up a day of podcasting. I feel good.
Yeah. Well, we actually today was kind of a light podcasting day. We actually only did 2.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Most people don't do 2 in a day.
2 really impactful interviews.
Yeah. It's crazy how podcasts are just like, they kind of, like, at least for us when we're recording these things, it just gives us kind of what we need to hear right now. I mean, these things are like coaching lessons for us a lot of times, or at least reminders of what we should be doing.
Yeah. I don't know why I took my mic off the stand so I can hold it.
You're just causing more work for yourself. You look kind of cool, like you're like doing stand up or something.
Yeah, but it's using too much wrist energy.
Just keep it, man. You want to be a stand up comedian, right?
Yeah.
I hear that Matt wants to go. He wants to do a lot of stand-up gigs. So if you know any openings for Matt to really learn and hone his craft, please, email Matt. He'll give you your email or his email if he really wants it. The opportunities. You want the opportunities?
No. I like watching stand-up comedy.
So you're just like reading all the books and watching. Come on, go do it, Matt. Yeah. People want to hear your
quite honestly,
ventures.
I've studied stand-up comedy because I want to be funnier.
You're doing great.
Hey, I'm making you laugh, you dick.
Laughing at you.
That's okay.
Part of it. Self-deprecating.
Isn't that what clowns do?
Wow.
Where are we going with this?
I don't know. Where's your kazoo? Then you'll start sounding like a clown.
Oh, I gave it to the kids.
That's probably smart. All right. So today we're talking to a friend of ours who is deep into the content repurposing game, which is a topic that's super hot on this show and in our community and all that stuff.
You'll never guess what his product is called.
It is the best named product for what it does.
It's called Repurpose.
.io.
.io.
Repurpose. Yeah. Pretty freaking awesome. So his name is Hani Mourra, and the guy's just awesome. We've run into him at some conferences, and I think you knew him from, I don't know, maybe not, but we've been using his tool since 2017.
Yeah.
Repurpose.io.
Yeah, basically it's a really cool tool where if you have a podcast, it will automatically take the audio podcast, convert it to a video, and upload it to YouTube and Facebook Live and a whole bunch of places just for you. And all you do is record your podcast like normal. I actually mentioned to him while we were on the show that we've been using this for like almost 3 years now, and I almost forget that we're using it because it just does everything in the background, and this stuff just keeps on getting fed to YouTube, and it's just like the best tools are the ones you just don't even have to think about, that just do the work for you in the background, and his tool is one of those.
Yeah, it's pure automation. If you're looking for automation, this is it.
Yeah, and it's not just for podcasters anymore, but we'll get into that into the episode. He does kind of talk about how other people outside of the podcast space could use it. It's a tool to repurpose your content. It's called repurpose.io, and it's for repurposing anything. So we're going to talk about repurposing strategies. We're going to talk about a little bit about podcasting. You're going to hear us talk about some of the events that we're going to.
Pricing strategy. I thought it was really interesting with how he even launched his software products, because anyone, even if you're not interested in launching software, you can use this as a way to just get something off the ground, and the key is to just get started. But there's more to it. Hani will elaborate, but I thought it was just really cool because he came from somewhere that he didn't have a network to launch this thing, but he approached it in a very a very smart way that was leveraging others. So you'll hear about that. It's really cool. Anybody can check it out and do it. And I mean, we talk about it a lot, but I think my big takeaway, and I think I told him as well, is if you can, everything that he's done is very simple, but it's there to serve a very specific purpose. It's automation, it's time savings, and it's just simple, even as a product owner on his part too. So he's done a lot with an extremely simple concept in software and offer in general. And it's just really cool to see him doing this very successfully, and it's working. It's a great tool.
The cool thing is, like, he kind of went down the rabbit hole of making tools to help you repurpose your content, right? And then over the years, he's just sort of drilled down in that same spot. How do I make it easier and easier and easier to repurpose things in different ways? And I think that sort of focus is probably one of the biggest reasons for his success, is he's just always sort of stayed in that vein of figuring out how to make repurposing your content easier.
Ain't that the truth? If you kind of just hone in on something that people want and do it really freaking well for a while, it kind of pays off.
Yeah, I think so.
It's nice.
I think so.
All right, so you're gonna want the notes. We cover a lot of basis on this one. We don't just cover just repurposing like we were saying. So tons of things that you will love and a bunch of takeaways. There's resources that Hani talked about as well. So if you want to get them notes, they're free, totally free for 2 weeks. If you pull out your phone and want to do the texting way. The texting way is if you text the word COMP.
Comp.
That was a weird dying dog.
Dong. Did you just say dong?
Dog.
Oh, dog. Okay.
Why did I say that? No. Comp. That's the word. Comp. COMP to 38470. It's not an easy number to remember. I'm sorry. We should have got a better shortcut. But
we should figure out what words that can potentially spell. I wonder if it spells anything.
Maybe there's a little... Actually, that's a great idea.
We'll have to check it out. We'll be like...
It's like passwords when you open a gate or something.
Yeah, we'll be like, text the word comp to turds or something, you know?
I mean...
I don't know what the words are.
The next intro, we're going to come with a cool acronym.
There you go.
But for now, 38470 is the phone number. Text that word comp.
Yeah.
And you'll be in there.
Or
2 weeks from now, they will go away. Or
you can go to hustleandflowchart.com/comp. That'll get you to the same place, basically.
Dang right it will.
And good stuff. You're going to want them notes.
hustleandflowchart.com/comp. Get the notes. They are free for 2 weeks. All right. Thank you very much. Let's do this. Yo, Matt, really quick.
Yo.
So we were just messing around with our most favorite tool that helps us ninjally jump the ranks and creepily beat the competitors out there on Google and YouTube.
Lots of adjectives here.
Yeah, I'm just trying to use adjectives and sound smart, but I'm using... I don't know. I think they're working out.
Yeah.
But we basically have a tool that helps us do all of this stuff to help with our content marketing and get a lot of visibility for everything we put out in the world.
Yes. That tool is called Ahrefs.
Dang right it is.
.com. That's spelled AHREFS.com. And we do have a membership. And I'm not saying this just because they're a sponsor of ours, but we actually use it. We pay for it and we love it. It's one of our most used tools in our business to figure out what keywords to go after, what competitors are doing, to figure out what where we're ranking, so we can, sort of level up the rankings for the various keywords that we're pushing. And dude, it does so freaking much.
It's a lot. There's a lot to uncover, and it's a beast when you get in there. But it's got a lot going on. So you definitely want to check out Ahrefs. It's basically a tool that we only really talk about it actually on this podcast.
Yeah.
And it's super cool that they're supporting us. And it's actually, we reached out to ask them about that originally because we love their tools so much. We wanted to somehow shine some more light on them with the cat. So it's really cool. You should check it out, ahrefs.com.
Yep.
And basically check out their content too. They have a great YouTube channel. If you check out Ahrefs, their channel there.
Oh, we've learned a ton about SEO just by watching their YouTube channel.
Oh yeah. They literally give a ton of SEO strategies and, spotting opportunities and gaps and We'll make a big old list in future episodes. They sponsored our show last year actually. And like each one we made kind of like a new nugget.
Yeah.
Of like a new training you can use in SEO and then use Ahrefs as to just basically speed up the process. So their YouTube channel is great for that. They have a blog as well. And so check them out, ahrefs.com. And you're going to love it because we love them.
Yep.
See ya. Hey, Annie, how you doing, man? Welcome to the show.
Wow. Thank you. How you guys doing?
Doing awesome. I mean, you're the first call of the day, interview that we're doing, and it's always you're getting us at our freshest.
Yeah, we've already been chatting for 15 minutes before we hit record, so we always know that's a good sign that we're going to have a good show. Is when we hit it off well with the guest before we ever even hit record.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and we're all Yeah, and we're going to be hanging out next week. I know next week, by the time this goes live, is
a couple weeks ago.
It's confusing to the listener, but we'll be all going to Podfest in Florida.
That's right. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. So another big shout out to Podfest and Chris and the gang there. They do good stuff.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we were chatting about prior.
Yeah. It's just a good vibe overall. You learn a lot, meet a lot of awesome people, just connect, just bring the community together.
That's right.
Yeah, I think we've bumped into each other at the last 2 podcast events we've been to, Podcast Movement and Podfest.
And Podfest,
Yeah, I'm glad to finally have you on the show. I actually looked it up before we recorded just to make sure I knew, but we've been using repurpose.io since August of 2017. So
that's right.
Oh, early on.
We've been using it for like 2.5 years now.
I think we're even grandfathered in on some old plans. So we're the old garb.
We might even have we might have some preferable pricing because of how long we've been on it. I'm not sure, but
that's awesome. No, it's true. We did do price increase and we locked people in. So that's awesome, man. Yeah,
Sweet.
That's like we almost the beginning, actually.
Really?
Like very, very early on. We kind of released it to the public, I think in March, April of that year.
Nice.
So you guys got in like really early. That's
awesome. We
awesome.
started this podcast in January of 2017 and discovered that in August of 2017. And at the time, I remember looking at the price and being like, this has got to be a mistake. I remember just like...
That's what people tell me that all the time. They're like, this is not, you got to charge more. And I'm like, it's weird when customers tell you got to charge more. It's a weird situation. But I mean, the value's there. I'm happy to hear that. And, we're slowly increasing, adding more value and then increasing the price as well over the years.
Well, we want to definitely highlight repurpose.io, the tool that we're all chatting about here. We'll do that in a minute because the ways that we use it, I mean, it's just so dang automated and it just makes it like out of sight, out of mind, but it gets the job done. I'm going to leave it there for now, and then we'll talk about it more in a sec. But let's rewind the clock a little bit, and I think you were saying about 6-7 years ago, that's kind of when things kind of got started for yourself, and let's take us back and tell us that story.
Let's go. I've ever since I was a kid, I was always a video guy. So I've always loved video. I was the kid that always took all the footage from all my family vacations and. Back then, everyone had their little digital cameras and it's like, hey, upload the footage, send it to me somehow, and then I'll put a nice video together. So I've always loved video. I went to school for software engineering, so I'm a computer engineer, software guy. Then just like one day, I was probably 7 years ago. I know even before, a couple of years before that, I think it was 2009-ish, I started blogging. Like blogging was the thing. My buddy introduced me to blogging. And of course, I gravitated to blogging about video because that's what I liked. And YouTube and marketing and optimization, and it was fun stuff. Anyway, a couple of years into blogging, I'm like, this is great. I love it. Building an audience, making a lot of friends, meeting a lot of people, teaching things I love. But there was still a disconnect. I was like, how do I monetize this? There's no business behind this for me. Like it's not, I don't want to sell courses, etc. And then one day I was like, man, I'm a, software guy. I love video. I got to make a video. I got to make a software for video. And that's it. Like that light bulb moment went out and went on. I didn't know what it was, but I just knew that was the right path to go. And then that's how that was, I want to say 2011, 12, maybe. I don't know. Nice. I'm terrible with time, but a long time ago.
What was that first concept you had in mind?
Well, initially I didn't have any idea. I emailed my email list because they were video people. And then I just kind of looked and I didn't really get a lot of feedback that was useful to me. And then one day I just said, what do I do? I'm a video blogger and I post content every week. I'm like, well, I upload video to YouTube and then I go to YouTube and I copy the embed code and I make a blog post and I embed the video there. I'm like, it'd be cool if I can just put the video on YouTube and just let it show up on my blog automatically. And then I was like, hey, that's a good idea. So I went in, read some documentations, APIs. I love that. My favorite 3 letters are API because I'm such a geek. I'm such a nerd. It's awesome. But anyway, I was like, oh, this is possible. I can do this. I didn't know how to do it. So I got hired a contractor to help me build it. Didn't work out the first time, took some money and then saw no product. It's okay. I believed in the idea, took whatever scrap code, hired somebody else. It took me longer than I wanted, but we got our first product out. And it's called Simple Video Press. It's actually still around right now. But the interesting thing is I didn't know anything about marketing at that time. I didn't know how to get it. I didn't have an audience, but I had a friend who became a business partner who helped me launch that software. He was starting a podcast. It's just funny how it all came together. He was starting a podcast. He said, hey, I need someone to help me edit video. and convert it to audio. Cut out, shorten it, and then convert to audio. I'm making a podcast. So I kind of raised my hand in the Facebook group. He's like, yeah. I'm like, how much do you charge? I'm like, no, I'll do it for free. Don't worry about it. It's fun. I like video. In that process, I'm like, I showed him what I was working on. He's like, oh, I have the right audience for this. Like, we have a YouTube audience who likes to, whatever, we sell video YouTube courses. Let's get this in front of them. So I showed him, he loved it. We showed it to 25 beta users. They loved the idea. We had a small Facebook group. And then that just gives you confidence. Like, man, I'm solving my own problem. And then now it's becoming, hey, other people have this problem and they appreciate the automation. And then we launched it to like his audience, 100 people at a time. And it was sell out in like 24 hours. I'm like,
wow.
Oh. And there's no way I would have done this myself. I don't have that kind of, influence out there with the right audience, but it just gave me the confidence. A, I built something that I found useful, that others are finding useful, but B, we learn a lot. Like once it gets into 100 people's hands, everybody's got our own website host and theme and plugin. Is like, oh, sites were going down and we got to hire support and things were breaking. Like, oh my God. But through all that, like I just knew like these are just like little hurdles, like just part of the process. You just got to crank it out, freak out, deal with it, and then once you get past it, it's normal. Then like but they just gave you the confidence, and then from there, so he introduced me to somebody in the podcasting space, and she's like, "Oh, you should take your video plugin and make a podcasting one." And
what did the initial video plugin do?
Basically, every video that you put on YouTube, it's a WordPress plugin. You install it, and then you tell it, "Hey, every time I put a video on YouTube, make a blog post automatically on my blog, embed the video." And then we added bells and whistles like buttons below, email opt-in integrations so that you can kind of grow your audience.
I actually used that at one time, like back around 2011, 2012 or something.
It's possible. Yeah.
You're a big blogger back then, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I just, to me, it was like, this is awesome. It's such a small step, but it saves so much time if you're doing something repetitive, like putting content on YouTube.
Right.
And then the podcasting plugin came soon after. It was from the same connection. He introduced me to somebody. She said, "Hey, you should, this video press thing that you have, make one for podcasts." I'm like, all right. Then Simple Podcast Press was born, and you hook up your podcast feed and it makes episodes. It makes a blog post automatically. Fast forward 2 years later, Facebook Live was a thing. Actually, there was another platform called Blab. I know you guys were on Blab.
Yeah, I remember Blab.
Yeah. So it came out and I was like, this is awesome. Met a lot of friends hanging out. Then one day I was like, man, I wonder if I can take the WordPress plugin and just spin it up so that it takes blabs and puts them on your blog. I did that. I launched it on Blab. People were just like, small community. Everyone's talking about it. I'm like, holy crap. I was so excited. In 2 days, I built that plugin.
Damn.
My wife is like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know. I had this idea. Just leave me alone. She's like, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm excited for you. I can tell you're excited, right? So for 2 days, boom, boom, hammered it out, got it out. Man, like, wow, this is awesome.
Was that actually you building it at this point, or were you taking like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I built the Blab one. I mean, I didn't say built from scratch. A lot of them have the same kind of heart, the same engine, back end of it. So that you just take it, you rip out the pieces, and you just change the input, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first one and the second one were built by someone who's on my team now. Like they are part of our team now for almost full-time basis. But yeah, it was exciting. It was like, I don't have time to write it down. I knew exactly what to do and just jumped in.
Dude, how cool is that?
It up. It was the weirdest thing. Like in 2 days, I was like, man, it's done. Here we go. And put it on the site. And I started selling it. I'm like, this is crazy. And then Blab shut down. But Facebook Live became kind of the next hot thing. Fast forward a year or so later, then same thing. We took the plugin, we spun up a different version of it that took Facebook Lives or Facebook videos, makes a blog post, add the opt-in box and all that buttons, and then take a step further. We pulled in all the comments as well, which was kind of a unique feature. So you had all these WordPress comments. Like you had a blog post with a video and WordPress comments, like without even clicking anything.
So it was the Facebook comments, and it was converting them into WordPress comments?
Yes. So it looked like you had native comments on your blog. and the video and the email opt-in. It was, and it's all automated. It's like you just showed up on your blog about an hour after you're done going live. And
this is what's it's fascinating me, because it sounds like you're just essentially connecting different things together, but you're creating such simple and almost touchless automations out there that anyone can use. And it's even so simple for you to develop something in 2 damn days.
Well, I mean,
get it live.
Just to touch on that, like how simple it is thing. So right before we logged on, I logged into our Repurpose account because I wanted to see how long we've been a member of Repurpose, right? And Joe was like, well, how's Repurpose doing for us? I'm like, I don't know. I haven't logged in 2 years, right? So I went and logged into Repurpose, and of course, it's just doing its thing. It's just work. Like, you just don't think about it anymore,
you don't
right?
Think about, yeah. And it's funny how Repurpose was born, because I was a WordPress guy. I became known. I got comfortable in the Repurpose zone. In the WordPress space. Right. For 3-4 years, I've been launching WordPress plugins. WordPress is a lot easier. WordPress, there's no servers to maintain. You have a plugin. I give it to you. You install it on your own site, and it does its magic. And we send updates and fixes and etc. And then people start asking me, hey, we love what you're doing. You're the automation guy. You're awesome. You're saving me so much time. But I'd be awesome if I can take a podcast audio and make it into a video so I can put it on YouTube. Or can I take a video off of Facebook and upload a copy onto YouTube? My Facebook Live, for example. My first answers were like, no, can't do that, right? WordPress is not designed to take that kind of heavy load. And then it was just like people asking and asking and asking. And then I'm just like, you know what? Like, there's got to be something here. Like, my customers are asking for this. There's a problem. People want this solved. So I just kind of spun up a little side project, and I looked for another developer to help me kind of execute a very basic version of it. And that's how Repurpose was born. It was just, a little side project. And then let's make it do 2 things. Actually, 1 thing first, and then became 2. 1 was just convert audio to video. That's all it did. Second step, once we got that working, okay, let's take a Facebook Live. And then after you're done, send a copy to YouTube, because I noticed everybody was just struggling downloading the video after you go live. And then, it's so slow. And then you got to go and upload it to YouTube and then put the title again. And it's just like, I didn't want to do that. So those are the 2 things. That's all it did back then. And then I went to my audience and said, hey, we have a new tool. It's called Repurpose. It's coming out in a few months. If you're interested, just like $150 deposit kind of thing. Like, pay down. I wanted to validate it. There was a market for this.
You were essentially crowdfunding the production of it, right?
Yeah, we got to a certain point where, like, okay, it's working. The concept works. I proved the concept. I can demo something. It's ugly, but it does the trick. But I wanted to see if my customers wanted this solution, wanted to take the next level, to go beyond WordPress. And so put it out there to my email list, to my customer list, and then feedback was great. We had a webinar, demoed it. People were like, this is freaking awesome. I want it. Then, they put a little deposit down. And then 2 months later, I think had 25 people kind of sign up to basically pay to get something in 3 months from now. A lot of them said, to be honest with you, like, it was all from having the relationship with the customer, right? It wasn't people that don't know me. People have bought my stuff. They've known me for a while. And they're comfortable with, like, this guy can deliver. And of course, if I didn't deliver, then they get their money back. There was there was zero risk, but it gave me the confidence. Say, all right, let's just give this a go. And we learned a lot about architecture and servers and stuff that we never had to even think about before. It's all new territory, but we kind of figured out. We started small and we grew from there. Like, with the 25 people, it was one-on-one. I sat with every single person one-on-one for an hour, and they showed me what they liked and they didn't like. And we improved, and now it's crazy what it can do now compared to what it did, I guess, 2.5 years ago.
Wow. Yeah. Now, Repurpose doesn't even touch WordPress, right? It just runs off your RSS feed, right?
Yeah, it runs off our own servers. It connects to your podcast feed. So we've been very heavy on the audio in the beginning. We focus on podcasters because that was a problem, but that was one of their problems, is to how do you get videos out of my audios very quickly and automated. So we solved that problem, and then we expanded into square and vertical videos, so you can go across different platforms. So we integrated Twitter, and then we integrated LinkedIn, and we can go to Facebook as well. So we can have a lot of automations beyond YouTube. But then my heart is with video, right? To me, video is the thing. So I'm like, what about my video people, right? What do they need, right? Like, people who create video as their starting piece of or their main piece of content. So initially it was just Facebook Live to YouTube. And then we said, you know what? I'm not sure how it all came about, but people were asking me, they're seeing Gary Vee do all these videos where the captions are on the bottom and there's a headline on top, and it's a regular horizontal video, but then we make it into square or vertical. So people are asking me, hey, can Repurpose do that? Again, no. But enough people asked, we're like, you know what? Let's see if we can just build a video, I don't know what to call it, like a video resizer. So now you can say, hey, take my Facebook video and then convert it into a vertical video or into a square video and add the captions and the title.
Wow.
And it just does it automatically and it fires it off. And we use the captioning service from Facebook because it's free to our users.
So is that like an AI thing? The captioning?
No, it's automated. It's all AI. It's on Facebook itself. Anybody can use it now. You go to Facebook, you upload a video to your page, and you just turn on a button that says, hey, transcribe this for me, or generate captions for me.
Right.
You can fix it up.
Yep.
So we took advantage of that. We said, hey, here's what you do. You upload a video to Facebook, turn on the free captioning, fix it up if you want to, and then make a rule and workflow in Repurpose and say, hey, take it, convert it into a square or vertical, whatever you want, whatever colors you want. And then we burn in the captions right into the video. And people love that because they don't have to pay for captioning service.
Right.
And it's automated again. And what I started to learn is the automation is the key. So like, that's what the customers appreciated, because content creators, podcasters, video creators, they just want to be able to create the main content once and then have different variations go out in the most automated way possible.
That's the feeling that, I mean, Repurpose.io, it's 100%, that's what it is at its core. And that's what I'm gathering from everything you're doing is everything needs to have these automations because, video editors, video people, podcasters, every bloggers, we're all busy creating content. It's like we want to stay in our vein of being the best that we can to bring this content to the world, but in terms of actually bringing it out to, exposing it to new folks and putting it on all the platforms, I mean, that's like a full-time job in itself.
It really is. It's as more platforms come out, there's, TikTok's talked about a lot, and people are, using Instagram stories. There's so many variations of content, and then the platforms are a little bit mean. They're like, oh, we only like vertical, and this one only likes square, and this one only likes horizontal. You're like, are you like intentionally making our life more difficult? I don't get it.
Nobody wants to have a universal standard. It seems like they just want, they want you to. Yeah, it is so weird. I've never actually really thought about that, but it's like you got to do it one way for Instagram, one way for LinkedIn, one way for Facebook. It's like they're all kind of different.
10 minutes on LinkedIn and then like 1 minute on Instagram, and then but it has to be square, but then vertical can be up to 6, it's like not only size but also duration of the video.
And that's
so it makes your nightmare for us like content creators, right?
And then fortunately there's people like you that are actually understanding what's happening in these algorithms and platforms, and just giving a solution that's so damn stupid simple that it's like everyone should be using this if you're a content creator. And that's a good tip about Facebook too. I actually didn't know you can do that, get the transcriptions roughly done good or well, and you can then edit it. I mean, you can use those all over the place now. That actually bypasses having to go to Rev or somewhere else like that, which is cool little tip right there. I like that.
Doesn't YouTube do that too? I mean, doesn't YouTube have automatic?
Yeah, captioning? YouTube does that as well. YouTube does that as well. We decided on Facebook for Repurpose because we. With YouTube, they don't allow us to download videos from Facebook.
Right.
Sorry, rewind. Right. YouTube doesn't allow you to download videos from YouTube if you're a third-party software. If you're a user, you can download your own videos. But as a third-party software through their APIs, it's against terms of service. I can hack a tool and download videos. There's a lot of them out there, but they're not legal. So we play by the rules. Like we've gone through all the approvals from YouTube and Google, Google approvals, and then also Facebook. So we play by the rules. So people would love us to repurpose from YouTube to other platforms.
Yeah.
We can't do that. So we said Facebook, you upload to Facebook, and then from there you can go everywhere. So that's why we said, hey, upload to Facebook, turn on the captions, and then we can just use those captions, burn them right into the video for you. So you do the captions once. You don't have to go into every video. Let's say you do a square video, then you have a vertical option. You can just do the captioning once on Facebook, then make all these workflows in our software so that you can tell it to go to square, tell it to go to vertical. tell it, trim the first 30 seconds or trim this. We also have a trimmer built in.
Trimming too? Jeez.
Yeah, there's trimming. So but the idea is that you do the work once.
Yeah.
So you put a good title on Facebook, you do the captioning, you upload a custom thumbnail, you do all that, thinking work, planning work, SEO work, all on the Facebook page. And then from there, we take all that information. You don't have to type it in again. You don't have to retranscribe anything. It's all done automatically from Facebook.
Well, you just added an extra task for Jacob on our team to do, because we're not implementing a lot of this stuff. We're just being on all these channels with the tool we're already using just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Hey, Jacob, if you're listening, remind us to give you logins to repurpose.io so you can do all this stuff.
This is how we communicate with our team via our podcast.
We actually do know Jacob's listening because he's our podcast editor. So
I was going to make a note, but I'm like, why? Hey, Jacob, thanks.
So
that's awesome.
So I back in the day, a long time ago, I developed a couple WordPress plugins here and there. I don't know if you could see on my bookshelf, but like that whole top rack is all my development books. Those are all the orange and white SitePoint books on like PHP and JavaScript and stuff like that. So I used to do a little bit of development, but the problem that I had was every time WordPress would roll out an update, or every time a different plugin would update, my plugins would break and things like that. And I just went, forget this, and stopped really maintaining the plugins that I was doing because of all these updates. And I'm curious if that's a concern or an issue that you run into in your business at all with like Facebook algorithm updates or YouTube algorithm updates, and how often do you have to kind of keep up with all of that crap that they're changing on you?
Oh yeah. It's not nightmare is a strong word, but it's hard. You got to be on top of it. The good news is the big platforms, they communicate well in advance. They, when you have a developer account, they communicate with you. They tell you this API version, blah, 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 is obsolete on February 2020. So you have 6 months to migrate your stuff and blah, 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 blah. So that's all good. The worst part is when that, I guess it's been 2 years ago now, when the whole problem with Facebook happened, and they basically, from one day to the next, they said, boom, groups API has been
done. Yeah.
Done. Nobody has access to them. And we have a connection so you can repurpose from your Facebook group or to your Facebook group. Completely done. And the customers were yelling at us. This is like, what's going on in my groups? Well, we lost access. Everybody had lost access and everybody had to reapply.
And it's like, turn on the news, you'll see what's happening.
And everybody had to reapply, which means there's a big queue, and it took them months and months on Facebook's side to catch up. But eventually it came back and it was great. You just got to be open with your customers. When something is out of your control, you just let them know, like, this is what's going on. We can still go to pages, but we can't do groups because of blah, blah, blah. But on WordPress in the beginning, it was a lot harder. Like, it seems like WordPress is changing less, or maybe it's just more mature now that, when they changed their core software, like, there's an update on WordPress, it doesn't break your stuff. I remember in the beginning, it did a lot. I mean, part of it is probably our coding, right? But the product has evolved. It's more mature. WordPress is more mature. I don't find any major, it's not as a huge problem as it used to be back in the day. But it is something you got to keep on top of. If somebody complains, this is not working, we got to investigate, what version of WordPress they're using. Is it a theme that's conflicting? And it does happen. And we just have to, do things on our side to avoid the conflict.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So what do you see Repurpose going in the future? Like, I know you mentioned a couple of these things, different platforms coming out. What's kind of the vision there?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Repurpose that excites me a lot is that the possibilities are endless. Like, it's not like a tool that does one thing that, you can only go so far with the product because it solves this problem. Yeah. But it's actually a platform that allows you to integrate other platforms and make them talk together. So to me, the possibilities are endless. So one of the big things that we're releasing very soon, probably by the time this episode goes out, it should be released, is a scheduling feature. So Repurpose is initially designed for automation. Like, you publish an episode to your podcast feed, for example, your rule says, hey, find a new episode, just put it on YouTube. I don't want to touch it. Let it do its thing. That's great for a lot of people, but some people like to control things a little bit more. So they go in, they hit the publish button. when they want to publish an episode, they hit the publish button. So we will give flexibility to users, but now we're going to give them ability to go in and hit schedule, so that if they want the YouTube version to go out on Monday, and then they want the Facebook video to go out on Tuesday, and then this one to go on Wednesday, have a little more granular control.
Nice.
So we're going to built-in scheduler, which people have been asking for. So we're excited that it's coming out. And then we're going to spend some time kind of integrating, just making things look a little, I mean, I've noticed that people want things to look more branded, more customized look and feel.
Yeah.
So just giving more tools to help visually be more visually appealing and more branded, and more flexibility in the design. It's funny because some people are like, I don't care. I love the automation. I'll pick one of your templates. Go. I don't care. But some people are like, no, but I want this to be red, but this text to be black, and then this text to be red. And it's like, okay, I get you. It makes sense. So we're going to just give people flexibility who want to fine tune or who just want automation. You can do both.
Love it.
So like a visual editor, visual design, template builder inside our tool, that kind of stuff, just to make people life easier and make it look the way they want it.
Yeah. I think that's smart. It's a good little blend of some branded stuff. But I mean, the key thing is consistency and getting out there, being visible in all these other platforms. Because I know from our experience from using Repurpose, even though we should using it a lot more on all these other platforms, because we actually were doing it the hard way a lot of times. But I mean, just the exposure on all these platforms and the ways that you can use that for ads too, if you want to run ads using some of these assets. I mean, that has in the last 12 months, maybe 14 months, our brand has just kind of popped off and, gotten noticed in many ways. And I think it really comes down to repurposing consistently and very effectively on all of these platforms.
100%. Yeah. The brand has all been repurposing.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously caution, the thing I would caution folks is to, not lose sight of monetization, because that can definitely dip as well. That's where I think Repurpose can really help a lot, is kind of, again, out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. Just make sure you have it all set up to do the thing you want it to do. And just kind of keep on with growing the business as you can. I think
exactly, growing the business and just keep on creating content. I mean, you want to be what I'm discovering now, I mean, it makes sense. And people have told me many, many years and years, like, to be visible, you need to post frequently. And to me, frequently meant once a week.
Right.
But now it's like frequently is like daily. Like you almost need to be posting, whether it's part of the episode, clips from the episode, or just content you shoot on your phone that's related to your brand. You just need to be in people's feeds regularly. And to do that, you need to be posting regularly. And daily is like, I know people, I freaked out when someone told me daily. I don't have time to sit there for a whole, like every day to shoot a video and come up with an idea. So I'm experimenting with like batch creation, like Tuesdays are my video day. I actually got this tip from Molly. She told me she's got a video day where she does interviews and she does content creation one day. And then you don't feel guilty. Like, oh no, I got to record a video. It's Thursday. Now I know Tuesdays are my video days. I book my interviews. I book everything. So have a day that's dedicated for video, almost like your creative day, and just, record enough content. Or if you're not in recording and you have content, go back to the library of content that you already have and just take out little clips and post those. Like, why would you, if you have good stuff recorded from interviews, from conversations, from maybe live speaking events, those are all great content. So it doesn't always have to be new content.
I think we're posting right now, at least a new piece of content a day. So we actually have a daily podcast called Hustle and Flow Shorts. And basically what that is these hour-long podcast episodes that we do, we're cutting out like little 5-10 minute, like little nuggets of wisdom and repurposing those into a daily podcast. It's another thing that Jacob's doing for us on our team.
That's right. Thanks, Jake.
I like that.
So,
I like that.
And on top of that has its own, we have a Hustle and Flow Shorts YouTube channel, which uses Repurpose, and every single one of those 10-minute little clips goes onto a YouTube channel as well. So it's just, it's just sort of spreading everywhere all the time. It's like you can't stop you can't stop our spider web from encroaching you.
And that's what it is. I mean, people think, oh no, people are going to get tired of my brand if I'm posting on all the platforms the same content. I mean, unless they're like really following you on every single channel, then yeah, you might annoy a couple people.
Well,
but
but then
I think
they probably want
overall,
more of you, actually, if they're following you that close.
Yeah, I mean, like because the way I'm seeing it work and the way I understand it works. Again, I'm not an expert. Don't quote me on this, but the more you interact, you as a viewer, like let's say you guys post content, I like a video, I'm going to start seeing more from you guys. If I don't touch it, then I'm not going to. If I don't comment or like, I'm not going to see more of your stuff. So people who are seeing your stuff are usually the people who already have liked your stuff or stopped and watched your stuff for a little bit, for a few seconds. So any kind of interaction or engagement is a sign that people are watching. And then the algorithm, like the social platforms, will just give them more of your content. Yeah. So I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't, if you were like, oh, I don't want to create content, put it everywhere because I don't want to annoy my people. I think you might annoy a very small percentage and just gain a lot more value.
Yeah, that was my big aha actually with posting consistently, because still it's not like, personally I don't post a lot, it's more for the company does, but think of the algorithms on all these platforms. Yeah, like there's so much noise, i.e. just people posting a ton of content, but yeah, I mean, it's like not everyone's going to see your daily post if that's what you end up doing. So don't feel like everyone's watching you so closely. That was something that and I've been chatting about. It's like, no, that's just your bubble. Like you'll get some people to enter the bubble and hang out, but like just keep pushing, just do your thing.
Well, we talk about that with like email and stuff. All of us, I think, as marketers, we tend to overestimate how much people are actually paying attention to us. Totally. You hear people going, I don't want to email every day because my subscribers are going to start to get frustrated. Your subscribers aren't paying attention to your email frequency. I guarantee it.
Stop making excuses. Just do it.
No, it's so true. It's so true. Like you think like, oh, I'm going to annoy people. I mean, you might annoy a small percentage. Like it might happen. Yeah. But I mean, they're probably not as engaged or not as interested in the first place. So it's almost like a good filtering tool, especially with email. I'm the same. Like with email, I'm like, I emailed last week. Should I email again this week? I'm like, it's a whole week. I don't think anyone even noticed. You guys are right. Like I'm guilty of it too.
We all are.
Well, when we go through phases like that, it's less about worrying what our audience is thinking and more about, wanting to be clear with our messaging. So if we have like gaps in our email, we're just, it's kind of probably in a phase in our business where I'm like, I don't actually know what to email about right now. More so than it is me being concerned about how many times people are seeing our email. Because if I really had something impactful to say that I thought our audience would really, really enjoy, I have no problem sending, an email in the same day I've already sent another email if I feel like, wow, they're going to get a lot from this message, right? Yeah. But if I think that's why we tend to sort of space out the emails sometimes, is we want to make sure that, at least in our case, that we want to make sure we're always providing some sort of value.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Reframe, actually, is like, hey, I'm just here to give value. I just thought of this nugget of wisdom that I want to share with my customers. Like, it could be your customers. Like you said, Hani, that like you were talking with your customers. You got your best feedback and ideas and feature requests, all that stuff. I mean, the more you communicate, the more feedback you'll get if you ask.
Yeah, absolutely. And even on like one thing on social, I've been learning, I mean, people talk about it all the time, and it's the fact that people always ask for a call to action. Like, what do I do with my videos? Where do I link them out to? And I don't know if this is a new trend or it's always been like this. I've been always kind of old school. Hey, I'll link to your blog or link to something. But now social's not about linking. I mean, I don't say now, but in the past probably few years, you get penalized by these platforms for linking. You're not there on social to link out. Platforms, obviously they don't want you to leave. Facebook doesn't want their users to leave, but B, there's nothing to sell here. You're just selling you're giving. Hey, I'm creating content. You got some value out of it. That's all. I'm not asking anything of you. There's the call to action. Maybe you put something in your little video that says, hey, if you like these videos, click like or something like that. Yeah. But no links. I've been learning that and just really strongly believe in that lately, like in the past few months. It's like zero links. And people are like, well, what's the point? How do you track? How do you measure? Well, it makes it more difficult, obviously, but it's YouTube, I would say a little bit different because YouTube is still it's the social platform, but it's still also a search engine kind of at heart, right? So people are searching for things actively, right? Compared to Facebook and whatever, Instagram, where they're just just doing this, right? They're not there to
swiping.
click anywhere. They're just there to kill time because they should be working and they don't want to work. So.
That's true.
Or they're sitting on the toilet and don't know what to do with their brains.
Exactly. So it's like, let me kill some time
Put
here.
the phone down.
I can't sit in silence for 3 minutes. No way.
Put it down.
My brain will explode. I gotta do something. like my kids in the back seat. Like, all right, I'm bored. What do I do? I mean, we just got in the car. What do you mean you're bored? We just sat in the car.
Look outside. Take a breath.
Look. Think about your day. Or it's like, no, that's boring.
Yeah.
All right.
No, you make a good point though about just the linking thing, because that's more and more now a thing. I know Molly brought it up on our
Hammering it
podcast.
in on our podcast.
Her triangle of trust with Facebook, where it's like you need to obviously please yourself with getting content out, please your viewers with great value, but also please Facebook, i.e. any other platform you're posting on, by their algorithm, feeding their algorithm. Don't link out, but like feed the likes, feed the engagement, all that stuff. Share within the platform. Like I know YouTube, that's a big thing too, is linking your videos together with cards and in screens and all that stuff.
Yeah, keep them on YouTube. Just keep them moving.
Exactly. Yeah.
Keep them in
through
there.
YouTube. Yep.
And like if you could do that, and you could do it on you could do it on any platform. IG, take a post and link it to your story. Take it to IGTV. Like start doing this little spider web. And if you can create a system and leverage like your platform along with your own content, I mean, shoot, you're off to the races. And tracking gets tough. But like what we've found by some of these experts coming in about the platforms is you can have these exit points that, if there's like a call to action specifically in one of these things, it might not be on your post, but maybe it's like in IGTV when people are digesting content deep enough where they're like, all right, I'm ready to buy, or I'm ready to join their email list. And so that's where you can maybe slip a link in there.
Sure.
Yeah,
and
we
your
had
profile.
we had some guys that came on and talked about their YouTube flywheel concept. And basically what it was is you keep them on YouTube. You get them from video to video to video to video to video. And then you have one video somewhere in there that actually has a link off the page, right? It actually has an exit. But the idea is you keep them on YouTube for as long as possible. And eventually they hit this video that has the exit that sort of brings them out. But this video that has the exit is never one that you're trying to optimize. It's not one you're trying to SEO. You're not trying to do anything with it. You're just trying to get the people on these other videos to eventually land on that one, right?
Oh, that's brilliant. I've never heard of that before. That's smart. That's so smart. You could probably do the same on all platforms.
Exactly.
You can do
just
similar concepts.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you from your perspective, when, trying to keep them on the platform, keeping them on YouTube, keeping them on Facebook, keeping on these platforms, what is in that regard, what is the path to revenue with all the repurposing?
I mean, to me, it's about just being almost like, I don't want to use the term like brand awareness. You want your brand, yourself, whether you're your own brand or you have a product or a software or whatever it is that you sell coaching services. You want to be visible wherever they're looking. Just they're scrolling. You're offering value. And what I find a lot is like, at least me personally, and I see a lot of people do this, when you go example, LinkedIn. I don't post on LinkedIn. I don't get a lot of activity on LinkedIn. I did a 5-day challenge on LinkedIn through a buddy of mine. And he's like, man, LinkedIn's hot. Organic reach is amazing. Just post there. Post whatever. I didn't even do video. I just did text and images. Got a lot of interactions and people were like, there's got a lot of organic reach. But what I noticed and what LinkedIn tells you is like your profile views goes up.
Right.
So they're like, who's this guy? He's saying interesting things. Let me go check out his profile. So that's where you want to link out to something. There's your call to action. There's your safest way to put a link without kind of getting in trouble or getting your hand slapped by the system or whatever social platform you're on, is that you want to put it in the profile. Because somebody like call to act, like the action, you don't have to tell them. Like when I see good content, I'm like, oh, who's this Joe guy? I'm interested. Let me learn more about him. You just click and you go to his profile, right? So there's a perfect opportunity to get people to click away off the platform. But you're on
smart,
social. You're not selling. You're not selling on social. You're giving. It's just like an email newsletter. You don't. Most of the time, you're not selling anything. You're just giving value. You do the same thing on social. From the profile, they link to some kind of opt-in, or in my case, it's a demo. Hey, it's a free trial of our software. That's my lead into my sales funnel. When you're on the trial, then there's all the selling. So you get it's all this. Even way back in the blogging days, the same rules apply. You just like micro commitments, right? You get them to commit. give them good value, they click your profile. You have a call to action that's appealing, they click to opt into something or try a free trial of your software, or book a call with you if you're a coach.
Well, it's like any of the funnel-minded folks, like this is the bottom of a funnel. You're just working them through, and you got to think, if they're landing on your profile, LinkedIn is helpful in that it shows you your engagement's going up. They're hot. They're very interested in you, and then they literally give you opportunities to post your hot links or like your biggest publications and the things that people should choose next. So it's like, why not lean into that and really put your effort there and your call to action? Everything else is just to bring them closer.
Yeah. I've also noticed too, just if you're focused on the brand, right, you're just kind of trying to be everywhere, you get more Google searches too, right? People just Google you more often. Like we do find that people are Googling our podcast name, our my name and Joe's name, Googling Evergreen Profits, right? They're Googling all of the various stuff that we're talking about in these videos a little bit more just because they're seeing us all the time.
100%. Yeah, I totally agree with that. So like social, you're not selling, you're not linking, you're just giving value. And people are like, there's so many, like they can just type in your name in Google and there's everything comes up, right? All your profiles, your posts, links to your site. So that's the way to go. I mean, I think it's always been the recommended way.
Yeah.
I mean, me back in the day was like YouTube, you can get away. Like we still get a lot of traffic. Like I track traffic for our software. Mind you, YouTube is more like how to kind of someone searching for a solution, right? And then how do I turn a podcast into video? That ours usually comes up number one, number two. They watch it like, oh, this is easy. We have a link in the description that links out. So we do get a lot of trials, and it's work. Like it's got a lot of views and it's got a lot of trials. It works. If you're like one-to-one map, there's a direct correlation between that video and what you're offering. So I would still see, I'm okay with links in the description and YouTube. I think they're okay with it. I like the flywheel, the concept that you talked about. That's even more like you're playing a little nicer by keeping them on the platform a little bit longer.
Well, you're engineering your journey. Essentially, it's like a customer journey you're engineering for folks. So if you can map that out, thinking, how do people discover me? Giving them choices on what to do next within there. That's all leading with value / solving their problems. And then when they get to a point where it's like they're ready to take the next action to do a trial or buy something or just join an email list, that's an exit point. So you're identifying these little points in time that makes sense for their journey. Yeah. Because everyone's different.
I like that a lot, actually. I'm going to see if I can think of ways to incorporate that in my business, because that makes a lot of sense, right? Because not everyone to watch one video, they're not going to be ready to take any action. They're like, I learned something. This guy's great.
There's a podcast. Hey, you can check
move on.
You can listen to the dudes on our show here.
Yeah, you mentioned something about how basically the platforms have always been this way, right? Like I think they've never really wanted you to link off, but I think as marketers, we're always kind of looking for loopholes, right? Like even SEO, just the concept of SEO is really just finding loopholes to rank on Google, right? So like all of these platforms have really always kind of been this way, but I feel like over time they've just figured out how to close more and more and more of those loopholes is really all that's going on.
I used to be excited. Like even on, I remember it was like 3-4 years ago. It was pretty new back then. iTunes back then never allowed links in the description. And then they allowed links. I found out, I noticed on someone's podcast, oh man, they have a link. It's a clickable link. Oh my God. It was so exciting to have a clickable link. I know it's good. It makes sense. It's great to have, but Apple Podcast is a little bit different. It's a podcasting platform. It's good to have links out, but on social, I think the whole idea of linking out, like you said, they're clamping down. They're not letting you, they're punishing you, slap on the wrist kind of thing by not giving you as much exposure.
Well, it's how they make money too, right? If you want to take them off of their site, that's what they want you to pay them for.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. You got to pay for that kind of engagement, like not that kind of visibility that links out to products or services. So
I think a good takeaway here for folks to not complicate, like try to do too much of a journey thing, is to use a tool like yours to repurpose and get content everywhere on all these different channels. But then take a look at your profiles at each one of these places, because I guarantee that my LinkedIn profile is not up to date. Yours, I know, is not.
I know it's not.
And
I looked at my icon on my phone for LinkedIn has a little like 100 next to it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't think it goes past 100 because it's been at 100 for a while.
Mine is right there with you. It's like 100 plus. But we had Steve Sims on the show last year, something like that. And the guy is just a magician when it comes to persuasion, getting stuff done. And he does uses social a lot. And he said the very first thing everyone should do is check out the profile pages and make them consistent along all the platforms. And don't overthink it, but make sure like your profiles look the same. Your links all are updated, because usually we just kind of do IG. All right, cool. Let's check that out. But then it's a disconnect when you go to Facebook or LinkedIn. And it's like, if this is your purpose with social, of course, if you have a personal account, you don't want to share it, whatever, but for business, like, make sure it's all congruent.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've been doing that. I mean, you can just kind of copy and paste from like the Twitter to the Instagram. You can, kind of delimit the characters and stuff, and you can always use like these cool. There's a whole different tools out there. They can put one link. When you click it, it opens up a page with all these other links. I think that's a good idea, but I think in the beginning, just keep it simple. Just link to one place. Like you want to send everybody to one place, whether it's. I mean, your website would be great, but you want something specific, like if you talked about this journey, like they came to your profile because they saw something that they're curious about you or your brand. Send them somewhere that they can get some more value. Just your main website, may not be as much value.
Maybe something more custom that leads them.
Or another video on your page, or some kind of opt-in. Maybe it kind of depends where what you want to experiment with, but and don't put too many calls to action.
Right. Yeah, that's like, key.
Go here and then follow me here and then like me here, and it's like, well, what do I do?
What do I do?
What do I do? I'm not going to do anything. So one link,
the paradox of choice is what that's called. There's a term for
something
it.
like that.
I don't know. Go ahead, Matt.
Well, this is sort of a change of subject. So if you had something on the same topic.
Go for it.
Okay. No. I was curious how you actually came to the pricing for Repurpose. Because like we kind of talked about at the front of the show was like, we looked at it and went, man, this seems way cheaper than what it's doing. So I'm curious how you came to the pricing on it.
Pricing is always hard. Whether it's software, whether it's a consulting.
Not just software. I think any products.
Everything. Any products. Info products, whether you're coaching, you're always, how do you value yourself or your product or your service? To be like blatantly honest, it's just, I knew the podcasting space for a while, for Simple Podcast Press, started going to the conferences. A lot of people are just starting off. So they're at a stage where they're starting off. So it's like, all right, they're a little price sensitive. So my goal was to make this available to as many people. So I can't remember if I looked up like other podcasting services, not ones that do the same thing as Repurpose, but just in general, kind of what do people pay for hosting? What do people pay for this? I did a little bit of research. I don't know. This number felt good. I think it was like $12 a month to start way back then. I just literally just kind of said, okay, let's just start low, because every product I've launched, I start low, get feedback, get people on board, and then those people are grandfathered in. Then we do a new price increase, and then see how it goes. So I knew price was an issue. Not say an issue. It's a concern.
Yeah, I could see,
because my main audience was podcasters in the beginning. Now it's more video people and more entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, like people who have some kind of business behind it, so they can afford to pay a little bit more because they see the value in it. But in the beginning, you don't know. Right? So my always tip is to start. I start lower. Yeah,
it's a lot easier to go back. It's a lot easier to increase your price than it is to decrease your price.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, I totally agree with this. Even after a week, I say, "Oh man, I'm not covering my costs, or it's too expensive." You can just bump up the price a little bit. But if I go high and then nobody buys it, I go low, then it starts looking bad on your business. Right? I start low. But I'm saying that from a software perspective, maybe an info product perspective. But if you're a coach or a consultant and you're doing, your own one-on-one time, don't underestimate yourself. Like if you believe in that, I can't give you tips on how to price it, but if you believe in the value you're offering, because you're giving your time, your heart and soul, your personal time, that's different. Like you need to really charge what you feel is fair and that provides value. But from a software perspective, I thought, all right, let's just get people on board. I need people to use this thing.
Well, I think it's yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, just make it as easy, just like reduce the barrier of entry and just get people on with a free trial, and then get them on a very low plan, and then we have upgrade paths to upgrade to higher plans. And we stuck with the pricing for about 2.5 years. We just increased it last December. Every time I want to increase it, I don't know, maybe because I'm a geek, I just like geek out about adding new features. We added the captioning thing, we added this thing, we added that thing, vertical, video square, LinkedIn. I was just all excited about building. And I was just like, man, there's a lot of value in this tool, right? Like we should stop and like, let's think about a price increase. And again, it was small. It was maybe 25% increase. Everybody else got grandfathered in. We increased the price. Business as usual. I was freaking out. I was like,
podcasters are cheap. We know this.
Yeah. So that's fine. That's
because most don't make money.
It's weird because we started as marketers and then went into podcasting. So we're always kind of thinking, how do we monetize? How do we market this? How do we grow it? We're always in that marketing brain space, right? But when we go to these podcast events, you learn pretty quickly that most of them are just starting up. Most of them are hobbyists, so they don't have a budget for this. Like, they'll go and spend $2,000 on microphones and mixing boards and XLR cables and all that kind of stuff. But then if you ask them to spend $10 on a piece of $10 a month on a piece of software that's going to help you repurpose it, they're going to be like, "What? Can I split that up even more?
Like, no.
Can I pay you $5 every 2 weeks instead?"
It's true. It's true. It's just like you got to get to know your customer. In my case, get to know the audience I'm serving, and just that's why we have a podcaster plan. It just does the podcast, the video, and then we have the content marketer plan, which is a lot more. It's the higher plan. So we kind of made the podcaster plan on purpose, knowing that people, the podcasting, just have one podcast and they just want to go to YouTube and Facebook, or just want to make that into a video. Let's keep that as affordable as possible. And then if you want to do more, then you got the higher end plan, which is still cheap. It's like $25 a month, but you can do video to video, video to audio, audio to video. Like you can go Facebook Live to audio. Like there's so much more you can do, but it's not for everybody. It's for people who, if you're just podcaster, I think it's priced at a very good price point.
I agree.
It makes sense. And I feel like with pricing, people kind of build it up into a bigger thing than it should be, really. Like it kind of like we were talking about the funnel concept with social. It's like, think about pricing. When you price your time, especially, that should be like the bottom of your funnel, because that is your time. If you're a coach, you ideally have some offers above that, that are priced a little lower. So it just allows you to, if they can't afford that, then send them that way. And that's okay. It's more of a one-to-many approach, but price it accordingly. Seeing that as a funnel, I think, would be helpful.
Yeah, it's true. And it all depends, like you said, on your service, what you're offering, software, consulting, e-courses, whatever it is that you're offering, the price points will be different.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I was like researching, how do you price software and how do you charge? It's like, no, there's no really right or wrong way. You just kind of got to go a little bit gut feel. Like I remember I had the webinar. I'm like, I wanted to ask people for money before the software is built. People know me, so they're going to trust me. But what number do I come up with? Like, it was literally like just my last slide with the pricing. It wasn't done. And it was like, I'm going live in this webinar in like 5 minutes from now. I still haven't figured out what to charge, right? I just like wait till the end. I was like, what do I? And I just picked the number. It was like 149. It's like, all right, if you invest 140. Sometimes you just go with the gut feel, and
that's awesome though. Yeah.
And then you adapt. Like nothing is set in stone. If you do the pricing and then you find out it's too low, or you're losing money, or like in my case, like we have server costs and stuff. Like if we find we're losing money, all right, we'll bump up the price and we'll see what happens. But don't let that stop you from taking action.
Yeah. My big takeaways from listening to you chat, and even prior to just reading our notes about you, because we always do research and everything, is I love that you've always kept it simple with the software, with the pricing, with the launching of your software. Like the way you just described it, you just last minute, screw it, 149, invest, that funds your project. And then you go to your partners, even when you didn't have your marketing, audience or an audience to market to, you leveraged your network and you kickstarted it that way. A lot of you also had a developer, even though you had background, but and it might not be the best first time, but it's like, we all have connections to get something done, but keeping it simple. And I think it's just a great way that people could take away from here if they want to get into software or anything else, is to start off like micro and just keep building like this.
Just start. That's the key. Just start, because like you have all these visions, you're going to build all this or sell all these products, but if you don't build your first product and get your first customer, you're not going to be up here. Like you don't go from here to here right away. You got to build one. We build one plugin, and then the next plugin, then the next plugin, then the next plugin, and then we built repurpose. So we didn't go from nothing to repurpose. So you got to take these small steps along the way, and you got to take the first step.
Are you still digging in on the code yourself, or are you kind of out of it all now?
I'm more and more, I'm leaving code more. I'm trying not to touch it. There's some areas where I kind of I'm very picky at it. So I go in there and I check it and address certain issues, but I never touch what we call production code. So I fix whatever if I have to, or tweak something on the servers, on our test servers, and the developers clean it up and then they deploy it properly. But I never touch things.
Gotcha.
Well, I'll say never. I do sometimes when it's an emergency and there's something I want to just quickly patch up that's low risk, but usually I do the stuff. I'm trying to move more and more. Our team is actually growing. We've got almost literally doubled since last week. We got 3 more people
since last week.
No, literally last week I was add an extra developer, and got 2 more people who joined the team on a part-time basis to help manage things, so I can step a little bit more to the side and do more of the content creation, more of the training webinars, more of this interacting with customers and the marketing side and the business side of things.
Right on.
But I love the technical stuff, so I always navigate back to we should build this feature that does this. But so I still got my hands in there. I still obviously talk to the customers a lot, but I need, we're getting help on that, so that I can free up some time so I can focus more on the business side and the marketing side and the content side. I mean, we have a content tool, and we do use in our own business. We use the tool to push to our WordPress site, to push to different platforms, but I need to be creating more content, like we talked about, just value, not training, just content, teaching about content repurposing, about different platforms.
Well, the different ways and applications, and giving people strategies to use.
I haven't done that. Everyone's busy with their own business, but I'm trying to free up a little more time so I can focus on that, because I enjoy that part.
Yeah, I think it's smart. It's going to help the business and help everyone else too. Think of new strategies and how they can use it. So awesome, man. Well, let's wrap it up, and I always like to ask your books. So any books that you love to go to yourself or recommend others?
Man, I don't know if I'm weird or just crazy. I don't read. I don't read books. I did audiobooks way back. I consume podcasts, and mostly about software, like software startups and startups.
What are some good software startup podcasts?
My favorite is the Startups for the Rest of Us.
Startups with
Rob Walling. I've been listening to it for ever, and I remember listening to him, and Rob's always talking about this. He calls it the stair-step approach. You build something small, you get experience, and you build something else. And I was listening way back when I launched the first WordPress plugin, and I was and now I look back, I'm man, I just not knowing it, but have followed his advice just from listening to the podcast, just the weekly podcast for years now. And it's man, it works. You build something small, you get exposure, you mess up, you grow your team a little bit, make a little bit of money, and then you can invest that money into the next product. So you don't go from here to here, you go steps, take the steps, right? And maybe I was guaranteed I was inspired by his teachings without directly even thinking about it until now. I'm oh wow, I did
never listened to that one. We'll have to check that out.
It's great. It's great.
Nice.
It's just but I don't do books for some reason. Even fiction books. I don't even do fictional books. My wife's read something that's not. I read blogs, articles, mostly podcasts I listen to. She's do something that's not work. Read a book that's fiction. I'm I don't know. I don't know what to read.
But work is fun for you.
But I read API documentation all day long.
I love that. You go on vacation, you print out API docs and bring them with you.
Wow.
Oh man, that's hilarious. I'm such a geek, but I'm getting better. I'm getting
I do the
better.
same kind of stuff. Not API docs, but I'm just always it's always marketing books. I don't read fiction or anything really that much either. It's always marketing books.
Yeah. It's like, to me, it's fun. Like, I know it's educational, but sometimes it's not even just educational. It's just enlightening and just fun. Like, I'm curious. My mind is like, oh, it's interested. Oh, interesting strategy, or some people are doing this.
Yeah.
I don't know. It catches my attention. So yeah,
that's perfect. No, there's nothing wrong with that. Fun. That's great. Right on, man.
Well, repurpose.io, we use it. So if you've ever seen our videos on YouTube with the audio of the podcast, that's what's making them go there. Mm-hmm. So go check out repurpose.io. Is there anywhere else that you'd want to send people after listening to this?
Yeah, you can go try repurpose.io for free, or if you want to just connect with me personally, if you go to hanimourra.com, it's just kind of a one page, got links to my Facebook and LinkedIn and other social profile, Instagram, that kind of stuff. So it's cool. hanimourra.com if you want to connect with me personally, or repurpose.io.
Nice.
Awesome.
Right on. Well, appreciate it, man. This has been a great chat.
All right. Thanks, guys. That was fun.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
Hey. Thank you for listening to that episode. This is Joe Fear. I'm sure you probably already knew that. And Matt is not here right now, but I'm pretty sure he enjoyed the episode just as much as you and I did, because, he went into the production of kind of making that thing right along with me. So thank you very much. And I want to give a quick shout out to our buddies over at Easy Webinar. These guys have been supporting us for a while, a long time. And Casey Zeman is just a super good guy all around. He's actually been on the show before. He's the founder of Easy Webinar. So if you look up Casey Zeman on any podcast platform you're listening to, go check him out. Go check out his backstory, what he's all about. You can learn a lot about webinars as well. And right now, Easy Webinar, these guys are actually hooking you up with a great trial. It's a completely free trial to test out their software, soup to nuts, check it all out and see if it's a good fit for you. If you go to easywebinar.com/hustle, that's HUSTLE, if you didn't know how to spell hustle, there you go. So if you go to easywebinar.com/hustle, you can go grab a free trial. And Easy Webinar literally lives up to its name. It's super simple. Super easy. And it does all the stuff that you're looking for in any kind of thing with webinars. They literally cover every single type of webinar you possibly can do. So from live to automated to scheduled at specific times and all these crazy features in between. Can't even list them all out. I'll be here way too long. They give you a ton of advanced analytics, what's working, what's not during your webinar based off all these actions. You'll see who attended, how long they stayed, if they clicked the offer or if they didn't. Basically, you're going to make more money and you're going to work less with this thing, and you're going to create better relationships with the folks that are listening because it's a good experience. You want to give that good experience along with some great content, of course, and a killer offer if that's what you got for them. So go try it out yourself. Go check out easywebinar.com/hustle. That's easywebinar.com/hustle. Alrighty. So that is the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, enjoying it. Hopefully you did. I'm pretty sure you did if you lasted this long. And go check out Easy Webinar when you get the chance, and we will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody, for listening to this episode of the Hustle and Flowchart podcast. Before taking the time to listen, we want to give you something a little bit special. Every single episode that we do, we actually have somebody on our team take notes. We basically have a Cliff's Notes version of every episode where you can go and find all of the tips and tactics that they laid out, all of the resources that they laid out, all the good stuff from this episode. We actually have a nice simple notes version that you can find on our website. So go to evergreenprofits.com, find this episode that you just listened to, and give us your email address and we'll send you the notes. Thanks for listening.